We'll get right into it. That goes in there like that. Hello guys, my name is Larry and welcome to my YouTube channel called the 956 Studio. Hey, the customer brought in this Stihl MS171 chainsaw and stated that the chain and everything would run, or it would move like it should whenever he throttled up, but whenever he'd get ready to put it in the wood, it would just stop. The motor would rev up, but the chain would stop turning all together. So that leads me to believe we got something wrong with the drum clutch or the spur gear, whatever you want to call it. We'll get right into it and I'll show you what we'll find. Now pull the cover and the bar off of it, and it's got a lot of debris up in here. Well, try to clean it up the best you can. Makes it easier to work on them. I'm sure you know how to remove the cover, which is pretty simple. You just take this one nut off right here, and then the cover comes off. And then you've got access to removing the chain and the bar, which I already did. And then you've got a little C-clip right here that you're going to need to pull off of there. You got to be very careful with it because that thing will shoot off just like that one just did. And I am not really sure where it went to, but it shot off. Well, now I've got to find a C-clip for that. Okay, once I pulled all that off of there, of course this is the piece that I took off. You see all these little needle bearings? There was a whole bunch of them in there. They all fell out of this little cage right here that holds all them needle bearings, and that goes over, actually goes over this right here, just like so. And of course this rides on top of it. That goes in there like that. Then this goes on here like so. With all the little needle bearings around the side of it. And then this piece here goes right on top of there just like so. So pretty much found out what's wrong with it. This needle bearing assembly with all these little needles, cage, whatever you want to call it, wore out or didn't get enough lubrication, so it flew apart. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put a brand new one on there. We got a new drum right here, a clutch drum, and we do have a little needle bearing assembly right there, and we have lubricated that. But just out of curiosity, you always want to put a little bit more grease on there than what comes with it before you put the drum back on top of it like so. Make sure it spins free. Then of course your clip goes back on here like so. And then we got the C-clip that I lost, which I've got to find and put back on there. Well, I was very fortunate to find it. It didn't fly far, but most of the time these things, when they fly off, they fly a long distance and you just have to go buy a new one. So yeah, make sure you put that back on there, put the grease on there like so. Put the clip back on there best you can, easy, the best way you can. And it's not really that easy to get back on there. So you want to make sure that that's all the way down inside there. Kind of tricky, especially when you got a bobo on your finger like I got right there. Okay, I was able to take the bandage off my bobo on my finger there, and I was able to put that C-clip back in there. Make sure that it's centered all inside, right around the perimeter of that right there, so that it centers on there and holds that back in place like it should. And then go ahead and reassemble your chain and stuff from this point forward. Now let me back up a little bit. It's not perfectly clear as to why actually this chainsaw did what it did. I mean, either the sprocket was wore out on this thing when this gentleman or the customer put the new chain on there, because it does look like it's sitting down in place properly right there. It may not be 100%, because if you look down inside, I hope I can get that for you. Right inside here, you see all this is wore out very bad. There was just no way that chain could actually be pulled across that bar. Now he did state that he did replace his bar before he brought it back into me. When he tried another chain on it, and he still had the same issue. So definitely it was spur sprocket, gear, whatever you want to call this right here, was definitely wore out, causing a lot of the problems. This was a Stihl. This is a 16-inch chainsaw. Like I said, the MS171 Stihl. And on YouTube, I'm sure you're going to find a whole bunch of these out there. And I'm no professional at doing this job. However, I'm one that can get the job done. And hopefully I can share some information with you that's kind of helpful. Now let's continue. Enough of the yap. Okay. Let me wipe that off just a little bit, or let me blow it off, shall I say. It's some cold weather today, kind of congested a little bit this morning. Always check the chain and the bar, like I'm doing here, making sure that it does slide in and out of there pretty easy and doesn't have a lot of slack in it, like you see there. And also make sure that you're putting the bar on there the correct way. See how the teeth are going here, and make sure that it's pulling back towards the saw, because it's going to rotate like this, and you want it pulling, cutting into the wood and pulling this way, of course. So chainsaws are directional on the chain. Put them backwards, it's pretty rough on cutting. There we go, we got that just like that. Put everything else back in place the best you can. Now this right here is your adjuster. That, when you turn it in clockwise, it actually moves the blade out, takes the tension out of the chain itself and keeps this tight. If you want to loosen it back up, or pull it back in, take your chain off, turn it counterclockwise, and come back this way. Now on every bar, or should be on every bar, is the dimensions. This tells you everything you need to know about ordering a chain. This is a 3/8, a 55 links, 1.1 millimeter, 0.043. So that's the numbers you're going to need in order to order the correct chain for this bar, and this sawmill in particular. Yours maybe read a bunch of different numbers, so check your bar. And if not, make sure you always write down what chain you got when you previously purchased a saw, so that you don't run into an issue maybe like this guy here did. I'm not saying that was the problem. I'm not saying that he bought the wrong chain. However, it is possible that could have caused this problem. Let's tighten that baby back up. Sure, there's a lot of traffic out there this morning, day after Veterans Day. Now then, let me back up and say one other thing. Before you start running this chain, lubricate the bar and lubricate all the internal parts that are moving inside there that were just replaced, and you'll see you'll have a longer life out of the saw. So again, we're going to turn this one in counterclockwise until we get the chain where we want it. And right now it's going to be pretty good, or just a little bit too tight. Now remember, once you tighten this nut up here, or this bolt nut, I call it a nut, that it's going to change the orientation of the blade, and the chain may be a little bit tighter. So there you go, folks. We've done changed, fixed, repaired, replaced, whatever you want to call it. Chain, chain bar, and the needle bearing, and the spur drum, or the clutch, in this Stihl MS171 chainsaw. Not too hard to do, pretty simple. Oh, just a little add-on. These are your idle screws, idle or adjustment screws. High is on the side, low is in the side. Say for instance your chainsaw is idling a little too high, there you go. If it's a little too low, there you go. Pretty simple adjustments on them. Guys, Stihl's been around a long time. It makes some really good quality equipment. I'm pretty fond of this one here after running it. I've never had a 171. I've had a lot of 260s and 255s and different types of saws like that. But this one here, this one, the 171, is pretty handy little old saw. So if I shared some valuable information, we ask that you hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.